All right, hi everyone. This is Shindigs with TeamLiquid.net. Today I'm here with Dustin Browder. We're at a Heart of the Swarm press event. We had a chance to demo the campaign and see a really quick presentation over the new features of Heart of the Swarm. We're just going to go ahead and ask Dustin some questions. So we're going to start off with single player questions, then we'll move on to multiplayer. First of all, have you decided if decisions of Wings of Liberty will affect what happens in Heart of the Swarm?
It will affect it a little bit. I don't want to oversell this as some huge feature, but we do have a few places where the conversations that occur will change based on the decisions you made in Wings of Liberty.
Okay, cool. Following up on that, with Wings of Liberty, we obviously had a lot of options in terms of branching campaigns. You can go explore a lot of different planets. And at the last press event, it was kind of brought up, it kind of convoluted the story a bit, and some people didn't like that too much. Will Heart of the Swarm maybe a bit more linear experience, or can we expect a few more branching options there?
Well, it's a little bit of both. I mean, you have to play all 20 missions in order to complete the game, so you can't skip content like you could in Wings of Liberty. You do have to play it all to get to the final chapters of Heart of the Swarm, but you do choose the way that you're going to play through those. So we have several key choices where you choose which planet you're going to go to next. So it has some impact, maybe not as much as it did in Wings of Liberty, but it's not a strictly linear experience.
All right, that sounds really cool. So also in the Wings of Liberty campaign, we had, we saw the return of some really cool Brood War units, kind of revamped for Terran. Can we expect the same thing for Zerg Brood War units?
Yeah, you'll definitely see some of your old favorites come back.
All right. Can you elaborate on which ones, or are they surprises?
I think there could be surprises at this point, but I think people will be happy with what we've chosen.
Okay, very cool. All right, moving on. A common critique of the Wings of Liberty campaign was the dialogue was a bit cheesy for some people.
Sure.
Is the tone in Heart of the Swarm, did you kind of craft Heart of the Swarm with that in mind, or was it a completely different writing experience altogether anyway?
Well, we have different people working on the writing in Heart of the Swarm, and the tone is much more serious than it was in Wings of Liberty. Wings of Liberty was, these guys are mercenaries, they're pirates, they're out on the edge trying to make a living. It was a little bit of a lighter tone. So, I certainly think that we've done a much better job across the board with the storytelling in Heart of the Swarm. I think in terms of the dialogue, I think in terms of how well things are motivated for all the characters, I think in terms of how we set up the action and then resolve those setups. I think we've done a better job, but I'm on the inside. I'm obviously biased towards this product, so that'll be up to the fans to really determine how well we've done.
Okay, I think that actually concludes most of our single player questions right now, so we're going to move on to elaborate on more multiplayer questions. So with regards to multiplayer, a while back there was a lot of conversation about unit pathing, the game engine, the game pathing, and you actually went on the Battle.net forums to talk about, hey guys, we fixed, we actually tweaked this, we saw it didn't change it that much, and that kind of closed the door on that. Could you elaborate more of what you actually saw?
Yeah, so I'll say a couple of things about that. I don't think I handled that post. I think I made 2 or 3 posts on that. Not only did that not change anything, we didn't actually want to make that change, right? So we feel like players who are very good can and should split up their units, right? Because that's necessary for very high-level play. Players who are not that great should have the benefit of keeping all their units together, and that's the easiest thing to do. So I feel like the easiest thing to do should be for the new players. The hardest thing to do should be for the advanced players. And we were seeing, and we're still seeing some of this, players really starting to see the benefits of splitting up their units in pro-level play in Wings of Liberty. And we certainly hope that that trend will continue to create these wider battlefields and spreading out. And we'll still see some pros mess it up. Like the minute the engagement occurs, they'll kind of control one, A move, and everything will close together, and the fungal will go off, and it'll all fall apart. So we're not really in a position where we think that's a positive change for the game. We think that would hurt the new user far too much, and we feel like the pros can and do have the ability to spread out now with the game. In terms of that specific change, it didn't actually do what it showed in the demo on the video, because what you tend to do when you play is you make lots of little moves around the map, and then everything just reclumps. And so a lot of the benefits of that change were non-existent. It didn't even do anything at all. It had no benefit. But even then, we don't really want that benefit. We want you to naturally clump, because that's the easiest way for the new user to play, and we want you to spread out if you're pro and elite and you feel like that's a necessary thing to avoid a lot of the area effect abilities in the game: siege tank, side storm, fungal, all those kinds of abilities.
Kind of following up on that, another discussion that was had along with the unit pathing was with regards to Xel'Naga Watchtowers. So I'm not sure if you've watched a lot of the Pro League games, of some of the maps don't have Xel'Naga Watchtowers. People were really interested in that dynamic. Have you been experimenting with removing some Xel'Naga Watchtowers from some maps, or because right now they're a bit ubiquitous to all the different maps.
I mean, it's certainly the choice of anybody who runs a tournament to do whatever they want with their maps in regards to Xel'Naga Watchtowers. They're just another terrain feature like a cliff or, or where an expansion is located or anything like that. We certainly feel like they're a positive influence in the game. We feel like they add a lot of strategy. We feel like they add a lot of value to controlling different areas of the map. So we're not really pro Xel'Naga Watchtower or anti Xel'Naga Watchtower, but we do think they add value, and we'll probably continue to use them on our maps for some time to come.
Okay. Excuse me. So with regards, kind of shifting gears a bit to the arcade section of the multiplayer, before Wings Liberty was released, there was discussion of a premium map store. Obviously, we didn't see that.
Nope.
And a lot of interviews have come out where you said it's going to be a really big, a really key feature in Heart of the Swarm. Could you comment on the?
No, I don't.
Oh, no.
I don't think I've said that. Maybe I have. I certainly have. That was wrong.
Okay.
The marketplace is something we're still looking at and working on, but it's not anytime soon.
Okay.
The marketplace is something we would be considering for Void or even beyond. I mean, there's so many details to work out in terms of making sure that the rights of a map maker are protected, making sure that we comply with all the legal issues that exist in all the different countries all over the world about how we sell this content, how we allow map users to sell it to one another. It's a ton of work for us to set this up and make sure it's done correctly. And so it's not coming with Heart of the Swarm. I certainly hope I didn't promise that. If I did, I'm very sorry. That is not true. And it's not coming anytime soon. I wouldn't expect it 2 months after ship of Swarm. This is quite some time before we're able to get that into play.
Well, it seems like these kind of things take a lot of time. What's the current vision for the premium map market right now? I mean, is it still very close to the original, or since there's a lot more time that needs to go into it? Have you expanded on that vision?
I don't know right now exactly what's going to happen with it. I don't know exactly what our plans are. Part of the challenge we're facing is trying to figure a lot of these issues out, right? And making sure that, like I say, that we're doing everything, sort of correctly. We've obviously discussed a lot of different scenarios for the map marketplace. Should be this something that anybody can freely put up whatever they want, right? Is there scenarios people can be hurt by that? They think they're buying, I think they're buying a particular map and suddenly it was actually a lie. It was a bad version of the map with the same name or a similar name, right? Like, there's all kinds of questions we have to figure out that we haven't resolved yet. Should be stuff that we bless, that we say, look, we've looked at this map, it's really good, we're allowing it on the service. There's a lot of sort of core, how this is going to function that we're still struggling with.
All right, well, fair enough. I mean, looking forward to the new premium marketplace in the future. Kind of shifting gears back to the more hardcore multiplayer stuff. You also talked about, in I think a recent blog post, is that you guys are going to try to reach out to more leagues and map making communities to kind of spice up the map pool a bit.
Sure.
Could you elaborate more on that vision for 2013?
So one of the things we've seen many, many times now over the last couple of years is the desire of a lot of players just to play on the league maps, period, right? That's kind of fun. It's like playing on Wrigley Field, right? You want to play on the map that you're watching. And so we're going to look to sort of work with map makers and work with the league specifically to see if we can make sure we get a lot of those maps into the ladder itself. At this point, we're not really in a position where we're that out of sync with a lot of the maps that a lot of the leagues are using, but we could be a little tighter in sync in a lot of places. And there was a long period of time there where we were using smaller maps on the ladder because we felt like that prevented a lot of hiding expansions, which is still a very common problem in bronze and silver and gold, even diamond and even Masters League. You'll see sometimes, I even see it in pro games sometimes, where a hidden expansion determines the result of a game, and that's not really the gameplay we were going for. But at this point, the community is so enthusiastic about larger maps, we've sort of just said, okay, hidden expansions is fine. We're going to live with hidden expansions as part of this gameplay experience and have these larger maps. And so at this point, I think it'll be a lot easier for us to get a lot of those maps into the game.
All right. So alongside that note, there's now support, voice support for larger maps, which is the community, kind of what the community wanted. And also, you've introduced clan support and groups, which is something a lot of people are excited about. Now, kind of the next level of suggestions from the community is clan wars, or like maybe some kind of group or clan interaction.
Totally.
Care to talk more a bit about the future of that?
We don't know. I mean, that's something we're going to be looking at going forward. We're still trying to ship this game. We have a ton of features in this product that we're trying to get out to the fans. We've got to make sure they're polished. We've got to make sure that they work. We've got to make sure that they're debugged. And that's what we're working on for the next several months, in sort of preparation for this final launch, is making sure all this stuff actually works the way we've advertised it, the way we've said that it's going to work. And then we'll obviously start talking about, all the features that we've all wanted, for quite some time. Clan wars obviously being, something at this point that's sort of hanging out that seems to want to happen, just just because we put clans into the game at this point. It seems a shame not to have something. Automated tournaments is something we've wanted to have for quite some time. So there's still future, sort of improvements coming to the product, in Void, before Void, all along that timeline. We've said for a long time now that, Battle.net is about releasing the stuff when it's done, and we're about to be done with a bunch of stuff, so we're going to release a bunch of stuff. But if we have some of this stuff between now and Void, we'll release it then. If it's come at Void, we'll release it then. If it's after Void, we'll release it then, right? But yeah, there's still a lot of stuff still hanging out that we'd like to get to.
Yeah. So the esports experience with StarCraft 2, like just with regards to the game client, has kind of changed since the release. So if I were to tell my personal story, when the game was released, I didn't feel like the esports experience was like, in the client, not right there, like not a lot of coverage maybe on the Blizzard blog sites. And since the past couple months and even year, obviously it's improved a lot,
Sure.
Especially with WCS. Kind of what's your philosophy of like kind of bringing the esports experience closer to proximity of the game, or is there a limit to which you can push them both together?
I don't know if there's a limit, but if there is a limit, we're not there yet, right? Like there's a lot more we would like to do to get the client and to get esports connected together and get a lot more timely and efficient information to the client. We feel like there's probably still a decent number of users out there who are not really that aware of esports, who aren't really engaged or plugged in, and we know that there's millions of them who play campaign only, right? Who have no idea what Team Liquid is, have no idea what MLG is or what a GSL is, right? Those have no meaning to them, and we think they would probably have a lot of fun with this if they got the exposure. So we would like to get a lot more exposure of esports and this community into our client.
All right, so do you have any, as we wrap this interview up, do you have any final words for the TeamLiquid.net community and maybe the community in general?
Yeah, we've been very fortunate at Blizzard to be able to have such a passionate, engaged community that has really brought their enthusiasm for StarCraft 2, their demand for quality, their suggestions for how to make the experience better to us. I don't know any of the developers, or many other developers certainly, who have this kind of esport community, but I can go home tonight and watch some of the best players in the world playing Heart of the Swarm Beta and really see how good this game is, or bad it is, or where it's going right or where it's going wrong. This is incredibly valuable to us as a development team, and everybody out there who's playing the beta, who's streaming, who's posting on forums, they're all coming together to try to push StarCraft 2 to be the best possible game that it can possibly be, and for that we are absolutely grateful.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time, Dustin, and you can go ahead and check out TeamLiquid.net for more coverage on Heart of the Swarm and StarCraft esports. Thanks.
Thanks.